Okay, so good morning, my dear students. Welcome to our virtual class for this morning. Before I start, may I request everyone to mute your microphone to avoid unnecessary noise and distractions, and turn off your video as well. And please observe proper behavior during our virtual class. Okay, so let me introduce myself to you. I am Maria Ana C. Robles, your online learning coordinator or your OLC for this course. I am one of the faculty members of College of Arts and Sciences at AMA Malolo City, Bulacan. So you can call me Ma'am Ann. Okay. Now, for our course code, we have here UGRD ENG 6320, and this is section 2 for 2113T, and this is Philippine literature. Okay, and our topic for this morning is the part 1 of mood, character, and setting. Okay, and for our learning objectives, we have here at the end of the discussion, we will be able to discuss the mood as an element of a short story, then explain the nature of characters, character motivation, and characterization in a short story. And lastly, we have here show appreciation of reading a short story by giving emphasis to its mood and characters. Okay, now, so these are our learning objectives. Now, let us now begin by reviewing short story. Now, short story is a work of prose fiction, shorter than novel. Okay, so when you say work of prose, it is written in an ordinary form, making use of paragraphs and sentences. Okay, so fiction is imagined story or based on the imagination of the writer, but short story can also be nonfiction. So it is more restricted in characters and situations. Now, a short story is usually concerned with not more than a few effects, problems, and themes. Now, it emphasizes human nature and human values. Now, time and characters are limited, but the place is not. Okay. Now, another one here is that this short story can typically be read in just one sitting. That makes it short. And it focuses on a self-contained incident or series of linked incidents with the intent of evoking a single effect or mood. Now, this short story is one of the oldest types of literature and has existed in the form of, so short story can be in the form of legend, can be in a form of mythic tales, folk tales, fairy tales. It can be fables and anecdotes in various ancient communities across the world. Now, the modern short story was developed in the early 19th century. So it is a crafted form in its own right, and it makes use of plot, resonance, and other dynamic components as in novel, but typically to a lesser degree. While the short story is largely distinct from the novel, authors or writers generally draw from a common pool of literary techniques. Okay. Now, short story writers or authors may define their works as part of the artistic and personal expression of the form. Now, they may also attempt to resist categorization by genre and fixed formation. They have deep roots, and the power of short fiction has been recognized in modern society for hundreds of years. Now, short stories have no set length. In terms of word count, there is no official demarcation between an anecdote, a short story, or a novel. Rather, the form's parameters are given by the rhetorical and practical context in which a given story is produced and considered, so that what constitutes a short story may differ between genres, may differ between countries, eras, and commentators. Now, short story or short stories have elements. What makes up a short story? Now, these are the elements of a short story. So we have the setting, we have the characters, of course, we have the plot, the conflict, the point of view, and the theme. Okay, so our focus for this morning are the setting of the story, the characters of the story, and the mood of the story. Okay, so let us discuss them one by one. So let's have first the mood. Okay, now what is your mood for today? May I ask? Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling light? Are you feeling excited? Are you feeling lonely or depressed? Okay, now mood is the overall atmosphere of a piece of literature. Now the mood is created by the setting, the characters, and their actions. Okay, it is also defined as the feeling, or it refers to the feeling of the atmosphere the author is describing. So it is what the author makes you feel when you are reading his writings. Okay, now it can suggest an emotion such as fear or joy. It can also suggest the quality of a setting, such as being gloomy or airiness. Okay, so that is mood. Now, what are the devices used to create the mood in a text? So first, there should be a dialogue. Okay, dialogue, as we all know, is the language between the characters. Okay, so character talks. Okay, so that is dialogue. And then setting, it is when and where the storyline takes place, or it is when and where the story happens. And then another device is the plot. It is the rise, it is the fall of action, or the rise and fall of action and events in the story. Okay, so these are the devices: the dialogue, the setting, and the plot. Now, below are lines or examples that suggest feelings or emotions. For example, the death of a loved one. So you have a feeling of sadness or loneliness because you are grieving during the death of a loved one. And then winning championship game in a basketball after several losing sessions. So maybe you have here the feeling of excitement, the feeling of happiness, because after several losing sessions, or seasons, finally you attain you achieve the what we call the championship. And then waking after a full night of sleep and remembering that the entire day is free to do exactly as one pleases. Okay, so maybe in here you are feeling excited because you are anticipating of what you will do the next day, and then waking from 2 hours of sleep and remembering that one must explain the car shattered front windshield to one's parents. So maybe you have here the feeling of being anxious or worried as to what you are going to say to your parents because your car's windshield uh, has broken. Okay, and then in this set of examples, note the darkened words. So they are examples of words that suggest mood. Okay, so the italic and the darkened words. A child is terrified of a huge menacing dog that is chained up next to the sidewalk where the child must walk. Okay, and another one here. A child is so excited when he learns he will be going on a vacation to Disneyland World in 2 days. So this excitement suggests mood. Now an adult watching a TV show that his or her children chose to watch is bored. So it also suggests mood, being bored. And then a furious teenager is walking toward a bedroom after being grounded. Furious. So this furious teenager. And then so describing a mood, we use adjectives, okay? Or adjectives describe mood because adjectives are describing words. Remember that you are not describing the way the person feels, like tone, mood words can be either positive or negative. So examples, again, relax, cozy, romantic, gloomy, frightening, somber. So another examples here of moods, suspense, lonely, happy, angry, uh, anxious, tense, suspicious, excited, depressed, and scared. Now, another example, the night was dark and gloomy. So in this sentence, it gives you a scary mood or a scary feeling. Okay. And then the man kicked and threw the poor cat out of his house. So in this sentence, it gives you a feeling of anger or pity towards the cat. Okay. And then there was plenty of food and the music was playing and everybody was having a good time. So in this sentence, it gives you a mood or feeling of happiness and fun. Okay. And then, so in other words, identifying mood, the mood of a piece of writing will depend on a number of descriptive words you know to answer the question. How did this paragraph or this passage or this story make the character or make you feel? Okay. So that is mood. Wait. Okay, so we have here an example of mood. Christmas mood. Okay. Okay. So now that Christmas is approaching, we have the what we call Christmas mood. Okay. So during the holidays or during the Christmas season, my mother's house glittered with decorations and hummed with preparations. So we ate cookies and drink cider while we helped her wrap bright packages and trim the tree. So we felt warm and excited listening to Christmas carols and even singing along sometimes. So we would tease each other about our terrible voices and then sing even louder. So this is an example of Christmas movie. So let's move on to characters and setting. Now, character and setting as the elements of a short story. Now, how does a writer create a well-developed character? What makes some characters memorable to others? And how does setting help to give the reader a better understanding of the story? So these are the questions that will pop up on our mind when we talk of character and setting. Okay, so let's have first character. Now, creating characters is an art in the craft of story, in the craft of storytelling. Now, characters, especially the developing ones, take you on a journey. So one of the keys to understand a short story is its characters. So they act out from the beginning to the end for the fulfillment of some issues of human needs as they engage the attention of the readers. Now, when the author introduces his characters, he sees to it that characters remain the focus of the story. For example, if courage is the main issue in a story, the storyteller can set a character into an environment designed to compel them to act. That's how a storyline's premise is made visible. So it establishes both why characters act and why the reader should care. The author should be very careful in creating his characters because they are used by the readers as their models and they unconsciously acquire the characteristics presented by these characters. So for example, in the story of Romeo and Juliet, the main characters are created to be strong-willed characters in love with the idea of love. Now, they are characters who refuse to allow anything, even death, to be obstacles to their love proving itself. So by their actions, they bring this story about love to life in a way readers have enjoyed for centuries. Now, because their actions arise from the story's dramatic purpose, they manifest the story's movement to fulfillment. Now, every story needs characters. Character is a person, it could be a person or sometimes even an animal who takes part in the action of a short story or plays or a piece of literary work. Characters could be minor or main characters. Now, main characters are those who are most important in the story. And then minor characters are usually static or unchanging in the course of the story. Now, there are characters according to Principality. He could be the protagonist or the character with whom the reader empathizes or the character who played the character who plays the lead role or the antagonist or the character that goes against the protagonist and usually the villain of the story. So in other words, the protagonist is the bad guy and the antagonist is the protagonist is the good guy, and the antagonist is the bad guy in the story. Now, characters according to development, dynamic, a character that exhibits noticeable development in the course of the story, and static, a character who exhibits no changes and development at all in the course of the story. Now, characters according to personality. So we have here the round character, the character that displays different or multiple personalities throughout the story. And flat is the character that reveals conventional traits who remains the same throughout the story. And the author makes use of what we call characterization. It is a method used by the writer or the author to reveal the personality of the characters. Now, these characters are revealed according to actions of the character, thoughts of the character, descriptions of the character, descriptions of the other character or characters, and the descriptions of the author. And these are the factors in analyzing characters. We have the physical appearance or what they look like, the personality and character traits, and the background or personal history, motivation, relationships, conflict or struggles of the characters. Does the character change? What do they think and feel? And how do others feel about them? So these are the factors. Okay, and then we have character motivation. This character motivation is actually the driving force behind why the character does what he is supposed to do in the story. Okay, or what are the reasons for characters' actions? Okay, so that is for character. Now let's move on to setting. So we have the mood, the character, and the setting. Now the setting is when and where the story happens. Okay, so in terms of place, it is the geographical location. Where is the action of the story taking place? And when you say time, it is when is the story taking place? Is it historical period? It is what time of the present day or year, and others. So in terms of weather conditions, is it rainy, sunny, stormy, and others? Okay, for social condition, what is the daily life of the characters like? Does the story contain local color, which focuses on the speech, dress, mannerism, customs, and others of a particular place? And in terms of mood or atmosphere, it is what feeling is created at the beginning of the story. So is it bright or cheerful, or is it dark and frightening? Now, the setting is an element that authors uses or that authors use to influence the reader's imagination. So to sum up, it tells what time of the day it is, what the weather is like, and where the story is located. Now, the setting uses details to bring the story alive. So these details are based on the 5 senses, and these 5 senses enable us or you to imagine the story as if you can hear it, see it, taste it, smell it, and touch it. So setting plays an important role in the success of stories. Okay? A good writer's depiction of setting puts the reader right into the story. Wait. Okay, so this is all about the mood, the characters, and setting of the short story. Now, before I end, I would like to share with you a quote from Dr. Seuss. According to him, the more that you read, the more things you will know. And the more that you learn, the more places you'll go. Okay, so that concludes our virtual class for this morning. Thank you for attending our session. Keep safe, everyone, and God bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.